Greetings, this is Tyra Olafemi, your goddess guru, here to bring a word of inspiration to assist you on your path to self-realization, knowing the totality of who and what you are, which is big. I mean, really big. We could spend lifetimes really trying to get to the depths of this identity. And on your path to self-mastery, which is a good thing. You feel so much more happy and at peace when you have mastered yourself, when the winds of the world, the waves of the world, the energies of the world just don't swing you to and fro, but you're able to stay true to the course of your life, to the course of your existence, to the truth of your identity. And so this is the weekly reading. Today is June 8th, 2015. And I have gone to the Oracle to find out some wisdom to assist us. I make these videos to a certain degree for any of my the people who will come behind me, in terms of, like, if I have grandkids, which I hope and pray one day I do. Even if I die before my children and they need to hear a word of inspiration, I make these videos to some degree, to a large extent, so that those relatives who come behind and those young people who are looking for this kind of wisdom, they will have it. And hopefully YouTube will always stay up. And I'm saying all that to say that if my second born son sees this video, this is within a couple of days of your birthday. So happy birthday to you, okay? So, anyway, the energy governing this week is Shep-Setep. That was the first card that I pulled, and the second one I pulled was Herakahuti Negative. And so this is the ancient Egyptian oracle that I use. And I studied what is called the Metu Neter. And so Sheps is the same word for ancestors in Ifa, which is out of Nigeria, Africa. It is called the Egun. This is a week that's all about the ancestors, the Egun. So just to sort of touch on the energy for right now is Mercury retrograde. You can always figure out when we're in Mercury retrograde. Just Google Mercury retrograde 2015 or whatever year that you're in, and you'll find out the dates. And we're at the end of Mercury retrograde. So this has been a time where we should have been slowing down, doing some review, trying to figure out, you know, how am I progressing in the things that I say I want to accomplish? What changes should I make? And just really taking stock. This is a time to take stock. This Mercury retrograde has been crazy because during Mercury retrograde, things were just like going awry. Technology, accidents, and, you know, I went through a blackout, not long, but it was like a blackout in several different parts of my small city were blacked out, which never happens. I've seen ambulances and police cars. Oh, it's been so crazy and wild. So it's a time where we're going to be able to get going again as we go towards the summer solstice. And so it's really important for us to think on lessons that we've learned during this time and to remember those, because don't you get tired of getting to the end of the year saying, I didn't get done what I wanted to get done? Don't you get tired of that? Well, that's why we have cycles. That's why we have seasons. And the more we learn about these cycles and these seasons, then we can use them the way we're supposed to. And it helps to keep us all in balance. So right now, we're in the waning moon cycle. And so this is a time for us to, again, take stock, but let some stuff go. Declutter. It's just sort of like a time to get rid of stuff. And so this is, whenever I think about the waning season, I think about the goddess Oya. Oya is like the old woman crone energy. Very wise energy. You can think about Kali Ma, you can think about Pele, you can think about Sekhmet. It's this old, wise energy. Very no nonsense that says, look, if we need to get rid of some stuff, we just need to do it. We need to change some things. We need to get rid of some stuff. But Oya, her place is the graveyard. When you really want to connect with the energy of Oya, a good place to go is the graveyard, because it is said that Oya is who helps souls that are leaving their body, crossing back over to the other side, helps them make that crossover, like helps them to get to that door and through it. And so this is a very good time for us to think about our ancestral energy, to think about, am I going to be the kind of ancestor that when people think about me, they'll say, yes, that ancestor right there, she did something positive. He did something good. Are you on track for that? Like, really? And if not, then get to doing something different. This is a time for us to remember. I was just thinking this morning about a lady that I know, and I said, she's not old. I'm in my 40s. I would think that she's somewhere close to where I am in my age. And I said, I really like that this woman has old ways. Even though she's not old, she has old ways. She's a woman of her word. You can tell she's a good friend. She's going to be there for people. She will have manners, but she's no nonsense. She's going to tell you exactly what she thinks. And I remember just feeling like, oh, my mom and her generation and maybe beyond, you know how you can see the good, but you don't really see it as a child because it's just there. But they just seem to nag you, you know, just, Mama, I just want to be free. Not realizing Mama's showing you the way to be. Not all of what Mama and them and Daddy and them are teaching us is good. You have to learn what you need to let go, because it's not all good. It's just not. We all know what we really need to let go of. Dogma and lack, limitations, all of that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about that good character. I'm talking about that way of living that from generation to generation has proven that, you know, it has a good work ethic, there's integrity, and it's maybe it's a gift or a talent that is just seems to be handed down from generation to generation. And it's legacy, you know, it's legacy. It's those things that we need to be looking at. What legacy am I a part of? In the legacies that are bad, like if you live a legacy of poverty, you need to get up out of that. You have the power to do it. A legacy of abuse, whether you get abused or you're the abuser, you need to get up out of that, okay? We don't want to be a part of those legacies. Those legacies, maybe we're being born to end that, okay? But what about the part of the legacy that's good? Even people that come from crappy legacies, maybe they come from that like they weren't treated well, but they have been handed that gift of whatever, that crafts, being a healer or whatever it is. They've been handed that part of the legacy to do something good with. And so this is a time to look at legacy. From what legacy do you come, and what legacy are you leaving? I look at all these great people that everyone cries about. Last year, Maya Angelou passed. She transitioned back over. And I think my son, who is 14 years old, picked up a book. It was a textbook that had an excerpt of one of her books in this textbook. And he said, Mama, I need to read this book by Maya Angelou. I want to read the whole book. I That's legacy. Maya Angelou's been doing this writing all these years. What if she didn't do it? Oh my gosh. How many of us would be missing out? You know, so it's like, what kind of legacy are you going to leave? That's what we need to be focused on, and our ancestors show us the way. And so we have our own personal ancestors, and we have the ancestors that are at large. Like, they're sort of like bigger than life, it seems like, because their legacy is helping generation after generation. But maybe it's a talent or a gift, a trade of some sort that we are a part of. And so we can look to those ancestors also to assist us. So for me, I might be looking at people who dance, because that's something that I do. And it's like, okay, well, what can I learn from? They may not be my blood relative, but what can I learn from this dancer? Sometimes it's not even about the steps. Sometimes it's about a way of being, a way of expression that comes from how you think. And so you know, you have to find whatever those gifts are from the ancestors. And one of the things, and going back to what I was saying about my friend, that I think is so important for us when we look at the enlightened ancestors, because that's who is speaking to us this week. Something that's so important for us is to look at their good character, their integrity. Because I think it's lacking in the world nowadays. I think that all the old ways that we just are like, oh, like I said when I was a girl, oh, these old people, the way they act, it's just, now I'm treasuring it. The older I become, the more I'm like, I get why grandmama talked this way, and mama did what she did, and daddy and granddaddy. It's a certain way of living, a certain way of being that we have to remember the good parts. We're talking about the enlightened ancestors. I'm not talking about those dark ones. I'm talking about the enlightened ancestors, okay? And they don't all, we don't all have necessarily like direct bloodlines, which we really do, but you know what I mean? It may not be a direct descendant from this particular ancestor that I'm going to learn from, and that's okay. The other thing about ancestors is ancestors are here to help us. And so, you know, we're calling on all these different energies to assist or not. And we have in place ancestors. When they cross over, they want to help us. And so we have our own personal ancestors that want to help us this week. You need some help? When was the last time you asked your ancestors for help? Okay? Or you can call them angels if you want to. However it works. But I encourage you to call on your ancestors. Ask them for help. Connect with your ancestors. So you can't see them. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean they're not there. And they want to help you. They can help you on a greater, grander scale if you just ask. And all you have to do is say, ancestors, I acknowledge you. I appreciate you. You may want to even set up an area where you could go and sit with your ancestors. You never put anyone on the ancestral altar, is what I call it, that's not your ancestor, that you don't share blood with. I do believe that those who are adopted, you know, that would be, of course, an exception. If you're adopted, you put your parents who adopted you on that altar, okay? But, you know, still you're adopted. To me, that's blood. You're blood at that point. But, you know, and you don't put anyone who is not evolved, if they lived a bad life, you don't put them on the altar. You can set up a garden space, you know, just anything where you can go and connect with the energy of your ancestors, and it becomes like a room where you go and meet them. And you can just say, look, I need your help. You can pour water, have a plant, light a white candle. It's any number of ways. It's better for you to listen to the spirit within you. It's any number of ways to do this. And you talk to your ancestors and you say, I would like help with A, B, or C. I remember one time, a place where I was teaching Zumba, we didn't have to pay insurance. And then one time they said, okay, you have to pay insurance for yourself. And at the time, I wasn't making enough money with Zumba to buy insurance. I mean, it was like not even at that point I was like, what? I'm not buying insurance. It just wasn't convenient for me at the time. I said it that way. So I went to my ancestors and I said, look, y'all need to make this right for me. Either give me the money or, just fix this. But I didn't even really care how I got fixed. Next thing I know, I'm getting an email. Oh, y'all forget that. You don't have to buy your own insurance. I was like, oh, ancestors, okay. So your ancestors want to work for you. Allow them to assist you. Why try to do it all on your own? No, don't do that. Get some help. Your ancestors, they want to help you. And they will show you the things that you cannot figure out that will help you so much. The other thing I want you to think about is there's the greater ancestors. I see them as caretakers of the world. And they're watching what's going on. They were here before. So they're not even really tripping about all the wars and the abuse and neglect of children, of the abuse and neglect of women, the oppression of women, the oppression of anyone. They're not even tripping about it because they already know. They've been here. They understand. This is the human experience, especially when a lot of people forget the truth of who and what we are. But the problem is nobody's really going to these ancestors saying, what should we do, ancestors? They could tell us how to fix anything that we need to fix just like that if we would just listen. And so I encourage you, when you look to the world and feel like this issue is the one I want to focus on, maybe it's an environmental issue, then you say to these ancestors, what do I need to do? Show me the way. And whatever it is you need, it will show up. Okay? So yes, right now it's all about ancestral lineage. And also, are you on track to be a revered ancestor? Or are you one that nobody will remember because you didn't really do what you came here to do? I know my husband's uncle, he sat on the front porch, smoked cigarettes. He had no legs. Both his legs had got amputated. He had a prosthetic leg, one prosthetic leg on most of the time. And Kobe would just sit on the front porch, wave at people passing by. When Kobe died, I cannot tell you how many people, he wasn't even from that city. He had just been there for a number of years, sitting on that front porch, waving at people, talking friendly to them. When he died, so many people came by the house that just would pass by and say, where is he? He died. Oh, you would see them cry. It doesn't have to be big, the good that we do. Okay? But do some good so that when you pass on, people want to remember you and say your name, even if all you did was say hello. He probably shared a cigarette or two with a few people too. Since I pulled Sheps, which really is enough for this week, but I decided to pull a deity card, and what I pulled was Herakahuti negative. Herakahuti is the energy of Mars. And so when we think about Herakahuti, this is all about not being fearful this week. You have to really be courageous to the point where you're like, if I lose everything going for what I know I really need to go for, so be it. It's that kind of directed focus. We're going to get this thing done. But with it speaking in the negative, it's saying that you're not really going to land what you want to get. You're not going to get it because you're being rash. You're being hasty. You're not really thinking about what you're doing. You're just rushing into it. You don't have a good plan in place. And more than likely, more harm is going to be caused than good because it's just like this willy-nilly, just crazy, insane, hot, fiery type energy, which hot and fiery is good, but it has its place. So you don't want to be hot and fiery where that is not called for. Like, don't be starting arguments and arguing and fussing and bickering back and forth, and when someone says something you don't like, you just slice and dice them with your words. Don't do that this week. The Oracle is saying that we all will have a propensity for that this week, that what we have to do instead is to make sure that we're being authentic, that we're operating from our most authentic self, and that, you know, we will keep this kind of energy focused on our goals that we want to achieve and not necessarily directed to family. It's also saying that it could be that we need to look at ancestors who have this kind of energy. You know, people who maybe are revolutionaries, radical, they radically protested something. They were so radical that it created a positive change for the better. And sometimes people are so radical about something that's positive, but they're radical, their way of being radical is detrimental. And we want to avoid that this week. And so it's always good to just sort of step back and breathe. And to really think before we move forward. Just be quiet and think before you move forward. This is the energy of Ogun. Is another way of thinking about this energy. And it's very masculine. And so this is a week where exercise is important, keeping your immune system up is important, avoiding snacks and eating too much sugar is important. And so just to share a little bit from my Orisha Yemanya, she is the energy of the mother. I always like to just give a little Yemanya energy in there as I continue to understand and know the energy of Yemanya. And so what I want to share is that when you experience love, it is like the greatest thing that you can experience. And sometimes we want to experience love because someone loves us. But more than anything, when we think about love, we want to understand that when we experience it, we expand. Love causes expansion, not contraction. So just know that when the love that the majority of us, well, all of us are seeking ultimately is that kind of love that opens us up, that causes us to step into self-realization, that causes us to step into self-mastery. So this week, Yemanya says to open yourself up to true love, and that it will be evidenced in the fact that you become however this love comes to you. Because it's not all the time about love from another person in a romantic sense. That's what I mean. I do my best sometimes when I see little children to give them something that says, like, I see you, and I see the beauty and wonder that you are. And sometimes for me it might be I give them a hug, I give them a smile, I acknowledge them when they say, do you see my picture? Oh my gosh, your picture is so amazing. You know, just go on and on about the picture. You know, do my best to share the love of the divine within me, with them, as that it's in them already. But where it touches and both of us open up and we become better. That's what Yemanya is encouraging us to do this week. My name is Tyra Olufemi. I'm your goddess guru. Just so grateful that you have taken time to watch this video today. If you would like personal divination with me, just look at the link in the About section of this video and you can figure out which reading is best for you. I make videos to assist people as best I can with their spirituality, their health, their body, their mind, their spirit. And so please subscribe to my channel so that you can stay abreast of all of the videos that I will continue to post. And I even have a playlist that has previous videos that I've made since like 2011. So just avail yourself to those. Thank you so much. Please share and like the video. Thank you And may you have a day, a week, a year, a life full of love, peace,